is in the top 10, and both of them either current or former number ones. First up, the man who has had an unbroken run at the top, number one since September 1993, winner of 5 Grand Slam titles from the USA, Pete Sampras. And his opponent, a man who has been ranked in the top 5 for 9 of the last 10 years, currently number 7, winner of 6 Grand Slam titles from Sweden, Stefan Edberg.
And certainly eagerly awaited this matchup. They have talked that Pete Sampras could win the Grand Slam of Grand Slams in 1995. He won 2 of the 4 last year, semi-finalists and 4th round in the other 2. So against a man who has won 6 Grand Slam titles, this is a great preparation for the defence of his Australian Open title and a place in the Colonial Classic final. Ranked 1 in the world, has been for over a calendar year, 10 titles in 1994, and in this tournament, a win in 3 sets over Wally Masur 2 days ago. And one of those 10 wins was at Indian Wells in California, and there he beat Stefan Edberg. 2 meetings between these 2 players this year. The second was in the Davis Cup semi-final, and Sampras had to forfeit with the hamstring injury. Stefan Edberg, he won 3 titles in 1994, his career ranking currently at 7, 40 titles in his career, and as I said, 6 of those Grand Slam ones. And in the 95 Colonial Classic so far, untroubled in defeating Michael Stick. And for mine, he's been the most impressive so far, though Stick was a little bit below his best on day 1. But Edberg had stepped straight off the plane, was in hot form, has had a day's rest, so he should be really acclimatised now, Jeff Masters.
Yes, certainly, Peter. Stefan Edberg played exceptionally well on Wednesday, having just arrived Tuesday night from his victory in the tournament in Qatar. And Sampras has only played 1 match and also won comfortably. So I think we're both, as well as all of you at home and all the spectators here at Kooyong, very much eagerly awaiting this confrontation. I think just a few days prior to the commencement of the Australian Open, there's a psychological edge to be gained by one player or the other with a victory here. So I expect to see them both going flat out. And in a best-of-3 set match, of course, anything can happen, but I expect this to be a very close encounter.
There are 2 meetings in 1994. In February in Indian Wells, it was a semi-final victory for Sampras, 6-3, 3-6, 6-4. And in September, one of those bitter memories of last year for Pete Sampras. He talked about what a scary year it would have been for him if he hadn't have had the injuries to contend with, just what he might have achieved. Never played between Wimbledon and the US Open, but a hamstring strain putting out of the USA's semi-final in the Davis Cup against Sweden. Edberg had taken the first set 6-3 when Sampras had to forfeit with the hamstring strain. So this is their first meeting since September 23rd at the centre court at Kooyong. Brilliant memories here for Stefan Edberg. The clubhouse a little different to then, so is the centre court, because they're playing on rebound ice. But in 1987, Stefan Edberg was the Australian Open champion. He's never won at Flinders Park, but he's won 2 Australian Opens here. And he said he had not stepped foot in the stadium since 1987. Only seen it driving past on the freeway, and well, it's revived some great memories for him.
Oh, there's no question about that. The players who have victories at various tournaments around the world very much enjoy going back to that same venue. They feel a special affinity with it, obviously. They feel good about it. They remember their wins, and so I'm sure that's probably got something to do with why Stefan played so well on Wednesday, having just arrived off the plane. He felt good about his environment because he'd had such great memories of previous victories here.
Chris Burke, the central umpire, and it's Sampras to serve. Second round, Colonial Classic.
15 love.
Sampras there, totally in control.
Doubly so there.
Surprising to see Edberg without a hat or cap, but very rarely does he wear a hat or cap when playing. Obviously doesn't like it much. Sampras, he's got one.
Love. Game, Sampras.
Well, he's straight into the service groove.
Well, Sampras coming out all guns blazing. As I mentioned, I believe these players will very much go at it here for the by victory. So Sampras straight into it. He's got a magnificent serve, Pete Sampras. We talk about the Ivanisevic serve. Sampras doesn't serve as many aces, but it's a tremendous serve. Here's a look at his serve. The volley. He's a very complete player, Sampras, equally at home at the back of the court as he is at the net. Sampras in 1994 served 821 aces in ATP Tour events, second only to Ivanisevic, who served a staggering 1,169 aces. But Sampras regarded as well as having the best second serve in the game. It's a tremendous serve, and
I'd rather be here, wouldn't you?
well,
down
it's
there?
air-conditioned here. It's very nice, and it's just a joy to watch players of this caliber here all week that we've seen.
Just on our right here, we've got Scott and Tony.
Stefan Edberg to
That
serve.
is Tony on the far right, just in case you thought Magnus Larsson was up here doing the stats for us. If the Sunday Age are listening, you could do one of those separated by births between Magnus and Tony, I reckon.
15 love.
And that's the crisp stuff we saw from Edberg 2 days ago.
Well, the backhand volley, very much a trademark. He hits it cross court most times, but he hits it so well it doesn't matter if you're waiting for it or not.
Love. Love. That's it. Game, Edberg. One game more.
Well, very comfortable for Stefan. We talked about Ivanisevic and Sampras in the service stakes. How do you think Stefan stacks up?
Well, he's not really renowned for being a huge server. He's a serve volleyer, and by that I mean his serve normally sets up his opportunity to win the points with the volley.
Club 15.
Stefan not in the top 15 servers in the world in 1994 as far as aces is concerned.
Club 30. 15-30.
Ooh.
30 all.
Yes, Sampras was moving. He thought there was a chance it might roll over. It's from love 30 down, a little more comfortable again now. That one goes straight into a corporate box. It's being souvenired, I think.
40-30.
No, lady's given it back. Dodged the flying glass, I think. From love 30 down, Pete Sampras reels off 4 straight points to hold serve. The winner of this game to meet Michael Cheng in tomorrow's final of the Colonial Classic. Talk about hats, Jeff. Did you wear one when you were playing? I can't remember seeing all that many on the tour until Ivan Lendl started wearing the Legionnaires hat at Flinders Park.
Well, I think players are certainly more aware of the dangers of sun damage now than perhaps several years ago, and I think very wisely as well, covering up as these spectators are today. It is very warm out there, and I think as everyone's knowledge of the draining factors of heat, dehydration, etc., become known, the players, as they become more professional, make sure that they leave no stone unturned to give of their best performances. As I said, Stefan Edberg, though, one of only a few players who always seems very loath to wear a cap or a hat or some sort of covering, but Sampras well protected.
Time.
It's a way to cover up there. Cap, towel, sunglasses, and keeping cool with a refreshment. And the players today will have to drink plenty. Must drink before you feel thirsty. If you wait till you're thirsty, it's too late.
Edberg, southern end.
Certainly the better ground stroke of the two of Edberg is the backhand, one of the best in the game. The return from Sampras short. Edberg, very early preparation with not a lot of spin, but enough for safety and perfectly placed.
Well. 40 love.
Edberg gets to the net so quickly, remembering he really almost sets his point up with the serve and then wins it with the volley. It's rare that he just gets an absolute free point off the serve alone.
Oh. 40-15.
The Edberg serve The left arm goes up parallel to the baseline, so a terrific rotation. He hits a lot of top spin there. That gives him time to make a good net position. Very much a Swedish philosophy on serving from the Borg era, to toss the left arm up in line with the baseline to get a good upper body rotation.
What about the way he grips the racket on serve? He really seems to have that wrist cocked and cuts right across it.
Yeah, he's got a very much a backhand grip when he serves, which is a good grip, but it certainly allows him to get extra top spin on his delivery. And balls bounce very high.
Game, Edberg. 2 games held.
Here's a good look at the grip on Edberg when he serves. There, it's very much a backhand grip. You see the hand very much around. Left arm parallel to the baseline, and the racket head comes up across the face of the ball, imparts a lot of spin.
left. Left.
We've seen the Edberg serve. Here's the Sampras serve. The left foot slightly raised. Both arms come down together. It's a more classical action. The toss is a little bit further in front, although that was a second serve, so a little bit more to the left, that toss, than would be a first serve. Like that one.
40 right.
That service toss forward and to the right allowed him to slice the ball wide to the forehand. What a ripper.
Game, Sampras. He leads 3 games to 2.
Well, Jeff, the Grand Slam has been talked about in Sampras's case. 95, there's a lot of challenges, of course, to his supremacy in the sport, but given a free year, fitness or injury-wise, definite possibility?
Well, certainly a possibility. It's a tall order these days, a Grand Slam. I mean, of course, it's always been a tall order, but there are so many good players around right now, and players making a resurgence to their best. Agassi very much coming back into the game. Becker looks very motivated. Edberg, well, his days are perhaps more numbered, but still got plenty to offer. So to win a Grand Slam, very difficult. But Sampras, it's certainly the belief of a lot of experts that he has the game to win on all surfaces. And for Sampras this year, he's made it clear that a goal for him is the French Championships on clay. It's been a difficult surface for serve and volleyers over the years, and certainly Americans and Australians haven't had a lot of success on clay. The Europeans primarily have dominated on that surface, but Sampras very much with an all-round game. He's technically very sound on every area, almost textbook so. And I guess if anyone's got a chance to win a Grand Slam, Sampras perhaps has one of the better chances.
Love 15.
It's not the first time Stefan's done that. It won't be the last. As we saw earlier, he serves with that backhand grip, and the racket face comes very much across the ball, and if he's slightly off, he hits on the leading edge of the frame, and that's what happened there.
Isn't that beautiful?
15 all.
Definitely the best backhand volley in the game, Edberg. This is a good pass from Sampras. They don't come any better than that backhand volley.
(30-15). (40-15).
Here's this last point again. The Edberg serve kicking up so very high. That's what made it difficult.
Yes.
40-30.
A bit of a self-preservation return, just blocking it in as he was cramped, but nothing wrong with that. Get the result.
Game Edberg. 3 games all.
So no break of serve in this second round match. On the winner's side of the draw, day one, the important one of the Kooyong Classic in terms of winning the championship. The player that wins his 3 matches is the champion. This is the second one for both these men. The 7th game starts.
5-15. (15 all). (30-15). (40-15).
Terrific serving from Sampras, pace and great disguise.
Oh.
Game. Sampras.
Dubious bounce there for
Means 4
Edberg,
games to
but
3.
there's no hint of a chink in either sets of armour here. Game's going with serve. Sampras 4-3 up.
Many players there. The stringers are pretty busy.
Exactly right. We do a tremendous amount of work throughout the Open, and of course we're there for 3 weeks, not just the 2 weeks of the tournament.
And of course some players won't, most players wouldn't wait until they break a string.
No, well, some players get rackets strung every day, whether they've hit a ball with them or not. They just want to do that so that they get the tension right for their game.
I guess that's particularly so with Sampras, who was such a high tension.
Yes, yes. The higher the tension, the faster that the string actually goes off. He sometimes even brings a racket in to us while he's playing a match so that we can do one straight away, and then he takes it back out on court and uses it straight away because the tension has gone off. If it's a bit hot, the tension goes off much quicker.
And they're looking for different tensions in different conditions?
Yes, generally speaking, the warmer the conditions, the tighter they want to be. If it cools off a little bit, they want to come down a little bit in tension. It's been the trend anyway.
I know you've got a lot of work on your hands. I better let you get back to it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
A man who knows his craft. It's always good to hear a craftsman speak. Very illuminating.
30-15.
Some players even bring their own stringers with them. Boris Becker, I know, has got his here for this 3 weeks in Melbourne.
Yes, players get rather finicky, as you heard there, with their string tension. They like to feel they've got it just right.
Edberg at 30-15.
Second serve. (40-15). (40-30).
A rare miss on the backhand volley there for Edberg.
Deuce.
One of the pluses of the Edberg serve is that it gets up so high. Here's the second serve. Look where Sampras is hitting that ball, way up shoulder height and a little above. So that's what causes the receivers a lot of difficulty. It's just not down low in the hitting zone.
Edberg needs this second serve at deuce. And it's a perfect example of what you're talking about, Jeff.
Well, it really got up, and Sampras looking at the court as much as to say, did that just get up off a good length, or what was it? It was a lot of kick, and again, this court, particular court, assists a top-spinning type of stroke. So Edberg's second serve, most effective on this surface.
Deuce.
It's almost as if Edberg could have got this, but just a little bit wrong-footed. Oh, beautiful.
Advantage Sampras.
Cutting the line, and now Sampras has a break point. Just 48% of Stefan Edberg's first serves going in.
Game Sampras.
Well, another magnificent backhand there from Sampras, right
Leads
at
5
the
games
feet of
to
the
3
incoming
first set.
Edberg. So Sampras really timing the ball well, serving now at 5-3. Last year, Sampras won 88% of all of his service games. #1 in the world. Hard to see him losing serve here.
(15 love).
Three to 1 in the aces. Well, attacking move from Edberg, not paying off.
Watch how Sampras stays down so low on this passing shot. Stays right down till the shot's finished. Beautiful.
That's very close, just long.
Second serve was just magnificent. Centimetres from the service line, and then the best of judgment.
And he wins the set
Sampras,
to love.
6 games to 3.
Pete Sampras, 1 set away from taking his place in the Colonial Classic final against Michael Cheng. 1 service break, enough to give the set to Sampras. And it was in the semi-final of the Australian Open last year that Stefan Edberg was broken just once in 4 sets. And was an unlucky loser to Todd Martin. With 3 tie breaks going to decide the next 3 sets. And then Sampras, of course, beating Martin in the final. Stats so far, and Edberg's first service percentage below 50%. Darren Carr, welcome back.
Thank you, Peter.
All showered?
All showered, ready to go. Pretty good tennis here so far.
Yes, not a lot separating them, but Edberg's first serves letting him down a little bit. The second ones have been pretty good.
The 88% of when the first serve has gone in, Pete Sampras has been able to win the point 88% of the time.
And it hasn't got any cooler out there?
Oh, it is stinking hot outside. I don't know what the temperature is. Must be 35 degrees, but it feels like it's 55 degrees on the court. And the conditions are very fast. It's extremely hard to return service out there. And if Pete Sampras does get his first serve in, then we can probably expect that percentage to stay right up there.
So that slowness that the players were talking about on centre court has disappeared.
Well, it goes with the heat. It really does. Once the temperature gets up around 30 degrees, the conditions out there are extremely fast. And it really does advantage the serve and volley player.
So Stefan Edberg, who is one, to start the second set from the Northern Scotch College end. Serving into the breeze.
5-15.
Well, I saw the game Pete Sampras played to break Stefan Edberg at 4-3, and he returned serve very well. And here we see him taking that serve very early, playing the off backhand. It's in fine form.
Now. 15-all.
Stefan Edberg without a hat there. A little bit surprising on a day like today.
Yes, we've talked about that, and he doesn't tend to wear one too often. Bit of a puddle developing there on the baseline.
Oh, great tennis.
He bend well to that.
He has one of the best backhands on the ATP Tour, Stefan Edberg. He showed us right there. I asked Magnus Larsson as we were walking out whether he was intending to wear a hat, and he said he can't wear a hat because his ball toss is so low that interferes with his sight. The only time he can wear a hat is if he was to wear it backwards.
Well, backhand winners 5-2 in favour of Edberg, but let him down there.
too good. That is great tennis from both players. Stefan Edberg can't put the net. Pete Sampras just running everything down. Finishes it off with a good forehand.
And a little doff of the cap, too, to the crowd. So, break point.
Hughes.
Disappointed not to nail that one, I think. He had it lined up and both barrels were cocked.
And Stefan's volley probably wasn't as hard as he thought. It caught him with a little bit of surprise. Pete was leaning forward instead of just camping himself on the baseline. Had an easy shot there.
Advantage Edberg.
Just on the crowd appreciating points. What about that one you played with Magnus Larsson where you had him right out of court and he managed to get back and hit it into the court for a winner with you out of position?
Yeah, a lot of luck that was.
Hughes.
I actually probably could have made it back across the net there, but I was too exhausted to move.
Yeah, well, you racked up a kilometre between you in that point.
That's very good.
Sampras.
Pete Sampras is so dangerous if you give him a second chance at a shot there and really punish Stefan Edberg. See, Stefan's volley just not good enough. Pete makes him pay. Three-quarter kicking serve there. Trying to take Pete Sampras out wide.
Game Sampras.
So Sampras breaks first up in the second set and looks as cool as a cucumber.
Here we have Stefan Edberg moving in and not playing that volley good enough and was really punished by the Pete Sampras forehand down the line. Here we got it from Sampras's point of view. 1-2 steps and bang, winner.
He just looks supremely confident, doesn't he? Like he expects to make them. And why don't you tell the viewers how good you think he is? You told me the other day.
Well, yeah, I have said it, and I don't think I'd get too many complaints from the people who know a lot about tennis, but I really think he's probably the best tennis player that has ever lived. He can do anything. He can serve well, he volleys well. His forehand and backhand, exceptional shots. And
Time.
I know we make comparisons over Rod Laver and John McEnroe and Jimmy Connors, and we go way back, but this guy is a true champion.
Rod Laver, his boyhood idol. Laver won a Grand Slam. If Sampras did it, then we mightn't get too many arguments,
No.
Aaron, on your assessment.
Love 15.
It's quite amazing, actually, how a lot of people can find Pete Sampras a little boring at times, where just my appreciation for his tennis just outweighs anything. I actually think he conducts himself very well, both on the court and off the court. He'll stand around for 15 or 20 minutes signing autographs after a match. He gets on very well with the kids.
Love 30.
A little bit of pressure now to see if he does get tense at all. When you got the shots like that.
15-30.
There's Pete Sampras setting that point up with a great serve. And finishing off with the volley. Pete Sampras wearing the swoosh line of Nike clothing, specially made for him.
15-40.
And am I right in saying he wouldn't be allowed to wear that hat in an ATP Tour event with advertising on it?
No, I think you can wear that hat. I think it's the legal size. You cannot wear an ATP Tour hat in a Grand Slam event. And I think that hat is fine.
Now, let's see if Edberg can level it with his first break point.
$30-40.
Dueling backhands going Sampras's way. Ooh, that was a cannon.
Deuce.
Boy, that's big, isn't it? Just when he needs him, Pete Sampras, he brings out the big serve. And we see he flattens his first serve out and bang.
And on
Too
the
good.
line too, a little bit lower bounce.
Advantage Sampras.
Well, that's hauling yourself out of a hole.
I hear Mark Kratzman was up here during my match. I hope he had a lot of nice things to say about me, my old doubles partner.
Exactly. You won a few titles together.
Oh, great shot. A little smile to Stefan Edberg's face there. He knows he played a great point here. A good volley by Sampras, and it really wasn't the shot to play. The down the line forehand was the shot to play, but threaded the needle there.
Advantage Sampras.
Pete setting up this point with another good serve. He doesn't miss too many volleys. Game point for a 2-love lead.
Deuce.
Well, Stefan's hanging in here. He's playing a good game. Takes the forehand in on the rise, and even if Pete made that, he was going to have a good position on the net.
Advantage Sampras.
Well, he's got 92% of his second serves in, Sampras, and won 76% of those points.
Game Sampras. He leads 2 games
After
to
being
1.
love 40 down, holds his serve. In the driver's seat in this second round match in the Colonial Classic for 1995 against Stefan Edberg. winner to face Michael Chang tomorrow to decide the championship.
Up 15.
Second double fault.
Stefan does that occasionally. He takes such a big arc on his second serve that occasionally he does miss-hit the second serve. And the loser of this match will play Boris Becker in the third and fourth place playoff.
Looking ahead to the Australian Open, if Edberg did lose here, he is scheduled to meet Becker in a quarter-final of the Australian Open next week, or the week after.
Oh, just wide. Pete can't believe it.
30-15.
There's a sly look there at the umpire. It was just wide. Here's Stefan Edberg, service action, and everyone as a junior thought he was going to have major problems with his back, but here he is, 28 years old, still going strong.
40-15.
Speaking of juniors, Edberg scheduled to meet Mark Philippoussis of Australia, the 18-year-old, in the first round of the Australian Open.
Scud missile. Hits the ball like a rocket.
There's one of those strings
that Sampras leads 2-1.
Anthony, the racket stringer, talked about, going in Pete Sampras's racket, and Edberg gets on the board in the second set, holding serve. Hot work for the Swede.
There we have some statistics. Pete Sampras with 3 aces, Stefan Edberg with 1, and Pete Sampras 63% of first serves in, and Stefan Edberg 50%, a little too low for him. And winners and errors pretty similar. Here we have the forehand winners, 3 all. Backhand winners, Pete Sampras with 5, Stefan Edberg with 2. Winners at net, pretty similar, and the same with the backhand winners at the net. And not too many errors from both players. Pretty good tennis here at the moment. It's very hot, conditions extremely fast. And the total winners, Pete Sampras with 14, Stefan Edberg with 10.
Sun coming back through again, some weak cloud floating about. Sort of misty around the horizon.
Didn't seem to feel too many clouds out there when I was playing. Felt like the sun was beating down on my head.
Breeze coming in from the south, but I don't think it's affording them much relief.
Well, that's just too good. Stefan Edberg knows he's going to have to attack the net to have any chance to get into this match, and Pete Sampras keeping his cool there and playing a good forehand cross-court pass. Like a fault?
Yeah. I think both players thought it might have been wide. And been an overrule from central quarter umpire. Just let it go a little bit. Yes, ball wide.
30 love.
And Pete Sampras's step is a little quicker than Stefan's.
40 love.
Maybe
The only thing that's a bit quicker.
Maybe because he is setting a break up, but he just is walking around the court. It's a little faster. And we have his 4th ace.
Game Sampras, who leads 3 games to 1.
He certainly seems very cool. They say Bjorn Borg had a resting heart rate in the low 30 something, and that helped him in times of crisis to keep his cool. Pete Sampras never seems to get too stressed. Have you seen him get affected at all by a game situation? Or?
Never. I've never seen him lose his cool. He just goes out there and it looks like he enjoys his tennis.
Love 15. Out. 15 all.
A lot of people in the stadium here today. Seeing some good tennis. Pete Sampras and Stefan Edberg, 2 of the best players in the world.
Pretty more like that. First up on serve. Stefan Edberg will be looking for. The crowd seem evenly divided about who they're barracking for. They'd like to see Stefan win this set. And not only looking up at the crowd reaction there, Edberg, but also to the sky. Some big drops of rain have come from, well, one cloud that doesn't look to be holding much. There's more dripping off Stefan's brow, actually.
Well, that was a chance there. Pete Sampras had a second serve, just overhit it.
Hughes.
And pretty hard to hit a drop shot on this court. The ball bounces so high. Pete had no problems with that.
First serve. Advantage Edberg. Game Edberg. Sampras leads 3 games to 2.
So a sit down at 3-2 to Sampras, up a break in the second set. And Steve Rebilliards with his coach of 3 years, Tim Gallagson.
It's pretty hard to improve on the sort of year that Pete had last year. What are you working on?
Well, first of all, just to stay healthy, you know, basically between Wimbledon and the Stockholm Open last year, which was in late October, he only played one tournament. That was the U.S. Open. So what was a fantastic year. It could have been a superlative year if he would have stayed healthy after Wimbledon last year.
It'd be a long time since a player's had a first 6 months like Pete had.
Yeah, he only lost a couple matches, and he won 2 majors, and you know, the majors are the ones that he's really shooting for, and hopefully he can get a good start here this year in Australia.
Playing very nicely against Stefan.
Yeah, he's playing well. You know, we've been down here for a week, and we've been practicing hard, and he's healthy, and he's really very eager to start this year off.
How's he like the heat?
I don't think anybody likes the heat, especially the coaches in the stands. But he's dealing with it pretty well. He's pretty fit. It certainly helps to wear a hat, and if it's hot like that in the next couple of weeks, he'll be able to handle it.
We might get wet shortly. We have a saying in Melbourne: if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes.
I know. I've been here before.
Thanks a lot, Tim.
Thank you.
T. Galaxon. That doesn't help you much.
No,
that's
it's
Tim.
Tim or Tom.
Yeah, that's Tim. That's the head-to-head career record between these two.
15 love.
This isn't an ATP event, so that won't change no matter who wins here, but nothing between them. Back down through the years.
Well, Stefan really hits that backhand approach very well. Takes it nicely out in front of him. Forces the error off Pete Sampras. He's running out of games to break back. He's going to have to do it very soon, or else the match will be over. And a chance here.
15-30.
Big help there with the second double fault from Pete Sampras. And Stefan Edberg bouncing on his toes now.
All.
Break back point for Stefan Edberg.
And you can see the disappointment there on Stefan's face. He knew there was a big chance there. Probably his favourite shot. Can't understand how he missed it. He's telling himself to hit through the ball there. Ooh, that's big.
Advantage Sampras.
It's fifth ace to Pete Sampras.
Game Sampras.
So he's saved 4 break points in this set so far to lead 4-2. I wonder if Stefan Edberg will get another chance. Delightful stuff.
15 love.
Again, I think you probably could have been expecting Edberg to go down the line, but just dropped the wrist on it for the winner. How's that?
Well, he's so dangerous, isn't he? He had no room to work with there. Pulled it straight off his body. Played a great shot. Good night.
Must be an awful feeling when you can't hit the net there and the ball's bouncing up for an on-rushing Pete Sampras.
Very unlucky there for Stefan. Would have been a good volley. The net cord working against him in that case.
Edberg finding the big serve when he needed it.
Ooh, so close. Game point here for Stefan to pull back to 3-4.
Game Edberg. Sampras leads 4 games to 3. Second set. New balls.
I don't know what the weather is going to do. Doesn't look that threatening. Wind gone more southeasterly, but there's no sign of any clouds blowing up down that way. And hopefully we'll get through without interruption from rain here this year at the Kooyong Classic. Nothing that threatening over there towards the southwest. The wind's coming from the southeast. Sometimes those clouds can come up against the wind here in Melbourne for the change, and that usually heralds a lot of rain. But don't know, is there anything to the north? That's what I want to know. Yeah, could be something brewing, and that can spell a lot of rain in Melbourne. As we saw 2 years ago, the Optus Players Championship Golf down at Royal Melbourne, when the greens were actually running with water. One of those storms that came up from that direction where those clouds are, but certainly not going to affect us today.
New balls.
The way the summer's gone so far. Usually anything threatening has passed by. It's been pretty dry. Sampras with new balls at 4-3.
Up 15.
Good shot there by Stefan Edberg, beating Pete Sampras for pace. New balls just going through the air a little quicker.
$15 all.
Well, that sponsor's box down there getting a lot of action. Those wide serves end up on their hors d'oeuvres.
15-30.
Well, another chance. He had a chance in the last service game of Pete Sampras. He missed an easy backhand return of serve off a second serve. And here he is again, 15-30. You don't get too many opportunities. Oh, just wide. Hit the forehand very well.
30-40.
Here's a bit of a gift for Edberg, a break point. The 50s had in this set. Can't believe how he netted that one, Pete Sampras.
You don't see him miss too many of those volleys, do you? A very easy forehand volley. And making up for it right there. Pete Sampras plays the big point so well. Here he has a second serve, puts a little bit extra on it, and plays the right volley straight down the line. Brings him back to deuce.
Yeah, great angle from Edberg. Gives him a sixth break point in this set. Well, he takes.
4 games all.
So we're even Stevens again in the second set. One service break was enough to decide the first set Sampras's way. And one apiece in this second set. And the crowd might get what they want. A third set. I think everyone would like to see that. Between the world number 1 and the world number 7. 6-6 in their career meetings. Very important now that Edberg holds his serve, having broken back.
Up 15.
I would have been pretty happy with the serve cramping Sampras.
Boy, that was a great serve, and Pete Sampras just plays these shots so easy. No backswing, but can create so much power.
All.
Pete just looking at a couple of the last line calls. And that ball may have been a touch long. Called good. Gives Stefan Edberg 30-15.
40-15.
Really good aggressive stuff from Edberg. Wanting to follow everything in this service game. And pulling out only his second ace of the match.
Game, Edberg.
Again, Sampras stopping, but
Edberg leads 5
look
games
good
to 4.
from here, and more importantly, from the umpire's point of view. So now, Stefan Edberg in front for the first time in the match.
He's played pretty well. He's had a few chances against Pete Sampras off his serve. Disappointed the last time Pete served that he missed such an easy backhand, but he's playing good tennis, and at times Pete Sampras just pulls shots from nowhere and can be quite depressing. But he's fought his way back into this set now. He leads 5-4 in the second set. Pete Sampras the serve, and just like yesterday when we thought it was going to be a straight set victory to Boris Becker, Michael Chang fought his way back and ended up winning 7-6 in the third.
You didn't play golf with Boris afterwards, did you? He was looking for somewhere to play golf after that 3-hour game against Michael Chang.
I would have been in the hospital bed after a 3-hour game.
I think he might have played a few holes over at Kew. Yes, it was an interesting way to wind down.
Time.
Spectating can be tiring enough in these sort of conditions.
Now Pete Sampras having to come out and serve to stay in this second set. Good point from both players here. Stefan Edberg just a touch slow to get that. And Edberg wrong-footing Pete Sampras there. His tennis has picked up in the last 3 or 4 games. A little bit of confidence. And a good punishing forehand. Oh, great shot.
15-30.
Playing with a lot of confidence here at the moment. And he has another chance now. 15-30.
Edberg guessed right, but he was still awaiting execution and nothing more. Sampras to tie it up at 5 apiece. Second set, upper set.
Game, Sampras, 5 games all.
Again, Stefan Edberg has the pressure swing onto his shoulders. He drops serve here, and the game is just about gone. And that would be a shame because he's starting to really hit his straps. Jeff Masters back.
Match is very much coming alive. Edberg just looking a little bit sharper than he was just 20 minutes or so ago.
Pretty low.
And more pace on that first serve, so the timing on serve is improving, and of course that lifts the whole confidence level of your game.
Well, Sampras couldn't get that one back in at the body. He's conjured up some brilliant returns up until now in that sort of position.
Well, this is a serve that professionals use regularly, the one straight at the body there, most effective.
Edberg holds to love. Sampras must hold his serve.
Leads 6 games to 5.
To force it to a tie break. Looking a lot happier with his lot now is the Swede, who will be 29 years of age in 6 days' time. Statistically, this is how he Matches up to the 23-year-old Sampras in this match.
5 each in the forehand winners department. Sampras, he's been beautifully set on his backhand earlier on. In particular, he's had 8 winners to Edberg's 4. At net, 5 each on the forehand winners. And not much in it. Backhand winners at the net, 4-3. Errors off the forehand. Edberg always just a little more ill at ease on that side. 10 to Sampras's 8. Backhand errors similar. Of course, players will tend to play to their opponent's backhand more than they will the forehand. Forehand errors at net, very few from either player. Only 1 from Edberg, 3 from Sampras. Backhand errors.
Time.
Likewise, 22 winners in total to Sampras, 17 from Edberg, and 27-25 the error stat. Sampras with the dubious distinction of leading that, but pretty high quality match and getting higher as this match progresses. Sampras started out very, very well. Edberg not quite there, and he's raised his tempo, and now Sampras will have to do likewise to stay with him. 5-6, second set. Oh, what an amazing miss. Edberg can't believe it.
Sampras force you to go for more width than you need sometimes.
Well, yes, but certainly only needed to hit anywhere in the open court there, Stefan. Amazing miss. Sampras serve. This was really flat out. He really let this one go. Edberg caught it late.
Yes! Whoa, that was poetical.
2015. Survey at the end of last year rated players' best shots, and Edberg's backhand was rated equally the best in the game. That's why.
First serve fault into the net from Sampras. And after the serve, he was a little bit worried by the stringing, Sampras, and now replaces the racket. 30 all. No, just going to try and protect one of those highly strung strings.
Well, he looks
highly
like
taut string, perhaps.
Yeah, he's looks like he's got some little string savers in there and just wanted to maneuver them slightly. On the head. He's angry with himself for endeavoring to go for a little deft angle. He realizes he should have punched it. It was high enough.
Well, there's nothing wrong with Stefan Edberg's footwork. He moved around that baseline like a panther to get into perfect position. No signs of him slowing down just yet. Oh, that's a shot he hasn't tried before. The topspin lob. And Sampras met it beautifully.
Well, it was a pretty good topspin lob, but Sampras hadn't closed in and also moves well, so it's tough to get it over his head.
Hughes. Sampras. Sampras, 6 games all. Tie break.
And to the tie break, in which Stefan Edberg hasn't had a lot of luck in the last year in Melbourne. Never dropped service in the semi-final last year against Todd Martin in the Australian Open. Then lost 3 tie-break sets in a row to bow out of the championship. So now he's up against the world #1 to stay alive.
1-0. 2-0.
Sampras still seems not totally at ease with the strings. See him there, he's just banging the strings marginally. Nothing wrong with that serve.
Edberg.
First to 7 with a 2-point advantage. And the mini break is with Stefan Edberg. Break back for Sampras.
2-all. Edberg. First serve.
So a change of ends after 6 points.
Sampras there still fiddling with those strings. He's got a little gadget there that maneuvers the strings, and he's got some little string savers on the strings to stop them from breaking. He's been fiddling with them the last 4 or 5 games.
Putting the pressure on Edberg, being as aggressive as possible here.
4-3, Edberg.
Maybe he felt He didn't force the issue enough in those tiebreakers last year. And this is a great opportunity to practice for bigger things to come. And then pull out an ace and keep himself in the running to play off for this championship.
Third ace for Edberg, and certainly pulling it out at an opportune moment.
Edberg. 1 point away from taking the second set, the Swede Stefan Edberg.
Point.
6-4, Edberg. Still 2 set points to save for the American Pete Sampras.
That's it.
I think everybody, except Pete Sampras, perhaps, happy to see a third set here. And Stefan Edberg, just like Michael Cheng yesterday, has a chance to win his way through to the Kooyong Classic final. Great comeback by the Swede.
Certainly was, because he was just about out of this match, a set down and a breakdown, and struggling against a world #1 who really was looking good. And Edberg just lifted the tempo, particularly on serve, and made a couple of good returns, followed them into the net, got the break back, and you can see there he's really quite motivated. The knees are pumping, keep the feet moving, and no doubt that having got this far now, he'd like to secure a victory if at all possible. Sampras just had a quick change of shirt, and I have to say that towards the latter stages of that second set, I thought Sampras lost just a little of his intensity. Perhaps it was because he felt he was coasting to a seemingly comfortable victory and then couldn't move up another gear. But I think now that we've reached this third set, hopefully we'll see both players really get right into it. Another grip wrap, it seems, there. Oh no, it's another little device for the strings. He has been fiddling with them.
Must be a favourite racket.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised, as you mentioned, that he wouldn't go to something he feels more comfortable with. He has been, seems like, almost dwelling on the strings a little too much. He's going to have to get it out of his mind and get on with the business at hand here.
Yesterday, Boris Becker won the first set against Michael Chang 6-4. Chang the second 6-4, and then won his way through to the championship in a tie-break decider, third set. Sampras winning the first here, 6-3. Edberg the seventh in the tie-break. And Edberg looks like he's going to continue the tactics that got him back into the match.
$15-30.
Change of pace there from Sampras, a three-quarter pace topspin serve, causing Edberg to swing a little soon.
40-30. Game, Sampras, first game, third set. New balls, please.
I wonder if the statistics back up the Edberg resurgence. That's the one that counts, the match score. Here statistically, a few more first serves going in from Edberg, perhaps. Up to 62, equal with Sampras.
Yeah, that's pretty acceptable for both players. Sampras, as you'd expect, winning more of the points when the first serve goes into play. He has got a heavier first serve, but Edberg, 71%, he's winning, so both doing well when that first serve goes into play. Errors, Sampras, just a few too many now, 36 to Edberg's 31. However, still ahead in the winners column, so that's pretty much negated, 24 to 19. Edberg behind in the aces stat, 3 to Sampras 7. So there's not a lot in the stats, and therefore, as you'd expect, not a lot in the match. One set all. And one love, Sampras, final set.
Time.
Beat Sampras, won on every surface last year in winning 10 titles, the 4 tour surfaces. Became only the 5th player to do that. John McEnroe twice, Miloslav Machir and Ivan Lendl have done it. Michael Stick did it twice. New shirt for Edberg.
5-15.
Doesn't help him there. Don't know that I've ever seen him in that striped, hooped creation before.
Edberg again cross-court with that backhand volley, but does it so beautifully. Turns very side on to the net on his volley.
40-15.
A little bit like a rugby top there for Edberg. And Sweden in the other football code, soccer. Had a great year last year, 3rd in the World Cup, and Stefan was saying how pleased the whole of Sweden was about that.
First set.
And then in tennis, they won the Davis Cup, beating Russia, which he was very proud of the part he played in that. Wind gusting in here at the centre court. Debris has been put back in its place.
Game, Edberg. One game out.
Edberg using the new balls very well. Lots of first serves. Very comfortable service game. 1-all. Just wide. Trying to hit on the outside of the ball to curl it from right to left. Just missed the mark.
40-15.
Beautiful skies when he winds up like that. Just not sure where it's going to go.
Game, Sampras leads 2-1, third set.
Sampras just doing enough to hold on to serve. Getting a little more gusty. Edberg disappointed on at least one occasion there, missing the second serve return. Sampras with the second serve. Head up at impact. Top spin backhand. Head so still at impact as the slice that just went long. Edberg waits to return pretty much with a backhand grip. There, a little quick change to the forehand. Finger very much up the handle when hitting ground strokes, the index finger. Beautifully balanced.
Which player will get the opening in this deciding set?
Up 15. Up 30.
Breeze definitely gusting. Love 30.
15-30.
Well, a couple of unforced backhand errors from Edberg, and Sampras 15-40 now.
Pete Sampras, who gets that first opening
Leads 3 games
to win his way through to the Colonial Classic final.
Well, Sampras didn't as much as win that game as Edberg lost it. Sampras hit a very good forehand down the line to take the first point, and thereafter Edberg 3 relatively simple backhand misses. 3-1, Sampras.
Well, when in trouble, throw caution to the wind. Seems to be Edberg's catch cry in this match. Force the issue.
Well, nobody comes to the net better than Edberg, and he does it so well on the returner serve as well as on serve.
Not a lot they can do with serving like that. Ace. In a tournament where there haven't been an overly number of aces served.
Shot from Edberg from very well, very deep behind the baseline. Edberg's slice pushes Edberg deep. Look, he's a good 2 meters behind the baseline. That's a tremendous shot. Excellent footwork to set up.
Correction, the ball was good. 15-40.
Well, this is the shot, very, very close. It looked like it caught the line. The linesman belatedly called out. However, the umpire has overruled that call. It is 15-40.
Sampras with nonchalance saves the first of the break points.
Well, it was nonchalance because the approach was a little short, but it was up the middle, so there's not much angle to work with. Sampras again went inside out with that backhand. Beautiful.
Hughes. Advantage Sampras.
That was a difficult call for the linesman to make because Edberg was right on the line and his foot could have easily masked the ball landing for that judge. But he saw it out.
Advantage Sampras. Sampras. He leads 4 games to 1.
Well, some very fine serving there from Sampras. He mixes his serve up so well. Edberg on that last point was looking for a kicker to the backhand, but instead it went sliding down to the forehand. And that's, of course, what great serving's about. The ability to hit with variety, to be able to hit different serves with the same toss. And Sampras just about the best in the business at that. He's got 62% of first serves in. Sampras and won 77% of the points when that goes in. Stefan Edberg not quite as good on either statistic. Sampras 95% second serves in. Of course, it's a double fault if they don't go in, and neither player doing that well when missing their first serves. Only just over 50% of the points won by each player when the second serve goes in. So the first serve in particular, obviously an integral part of both these players' games.
Pete Sampras won $3.6 million in prize money last year to take his career earnings to $11.8 million. The man he's facing has won the second most prize money ever in professional tennis. Stefan Edberg will probably just about crack the 20 million this year.
Half his luck.
Love 15.
And maybe there's a career with the Swedish soccer team for him one day.
He's all right.
He just cleared the bar there and got onto the softer grass, but
well, it was a terrific lob. Edberg does well to get this. Sampras, he thought he had it. He was going round the post. He stumbles. So, I guess they're trying, aren't they?
20-15.
I think you might be right. Fifth ace from Stefan Edberg's racket.
Ooh, just wide, I think, yes. Close.
Oh, it doesn't.
Well, they're trying, but they're having fun. Here's the lob, Edberg. The practice smash, and then the real one. The real one he mistimed totally. Little lobbing practice from Sampras. And now the drop volley. Good stuff.
Edberg had to take the winner when he could get it. He's down a break. For the let. Sampras up 4-2 in the deciding set. Magnificent half volley. That Edberg couldn't scoop up. This match goes for a bit longer.
Well, that was a terrific shot. This serve has got Edberg, look, way past the doubles alley, and he's made a magnificent angle. Had it not been a winner, he could not have recovered.
$15.30.
Sampras was just feeling for that volley. The breeze gusty, and he just hesitated momentarily, Sampras, and it was just enough hesitation to cause the error.
Well, he saved 2 break points in his last service game. Pete Sampras has to do it again.
Oh, what a shot.
30-40.
Edberg's going to shake his hand or something here. No.
I think he said you had no right to get that back. I had that .1. And it's an ace. An appeal.
Well, this is just tremendously soft hands from Sampras. You can't teach that. That's just gift. Beautiful touch.
That serves for real, and it's a fault. There you go again. He just killed it. Yeah.
A beer being offered.
I don't know whether he'll accept that or not, but certainly he's going to accept the seat. The difference between this and the Becca Chang match yesterday is that there weren't too many smiles exchanged in that one. This nonetheless hard fought, and that's an ace.
Sampras.
9 for Pete Sampras.
Game Sampras. He leads 5 games to 2. Final set.
And once again, he shows us just how miserly he is in giving up his serve.
Well, 15-40 again there, and just being a little more aggressive with the serve when threatened. Just got that ability, Sampras, as you would expect of a world #1, to bring out something extra. So some action from that last game. The forehand volley down the line. This was the delicate half volley. Just loosens up the grip so that the ball comes off the strings with less pace. The ability to just loosen the grip at the right moment, that's where the skill and the talent is. Edberg, the great mover that he is, couldn't track it down.
Pity he had his back to us. The lip readers in the audience might have been able to tell us what he said there, Stefan Edberg.
The back was to the net. The shot was right at the feet of Sampras, and as I said, it's just nothing you can teach. Just exquisite feel. So Edberg 2-5, only 1 service break down, but up against it.
Love 15.
Boris Becker said after his match yesterday with Michael Chang that as the sun was dropping, it was a little bit more difficult to serve. But we're an hour earlier today in the 3rd set.
Up 30.
Pete Sampras in control.
Up 40.
Well, how quickly it can get away from you if you lose the early points. Sampras with that terrific backhand pass on the first point, and now 2 points later has 3 match points.
Oh. Extraordinary finish. That's 6 and out for Stefan Edberg. I don't know that I've seen that on match point before. Such a double fault as that one. But Pete Sampras will play Michael Chang
6-2
for the 1995 Colonial Classic. Having won the first 6-3, lost the second 6-7, 4-7 in the tie break. And then the one service break setting up the lead going into that last game, and Edberg lost it to love.
Yes, Sampras, pretty impressive performance. He really raised the tempo when he needed to, and all in all, it was a very entertaining match, as well as a match of the very highest of standards.
Warren Boland with Pete Sampras.
Well, Pete, you seem to be hitting the ball pretty well in the lead up to the Australian Open.
Yeah, I felt I played pretty well today. We both played pretty well considering the conditions. It was very windy and pretty hot, so I feel like my form throughout the week is getting better and better, and I'm ready to go.
And considering the conditions, you showed plenty of determination when you crashed onto the grass. A soft landing?
It's a very soft landing. It's like a cricket ground out here, so you know, I feel I played pretty well. I was fighting hard after I lost the second set. I regrouped, got back on track, and played pretty well in the third.
Now, number one, you could set yourself a lot of goals for 95, but what is uppermost in your mind? The majors?
Obviously, the majors and the French Open is the one title that I've not won. So to win on clay is something that is very tough to do, considering my surface or my game. And so the majors, and obviously staying on top for as long as I can, and to stay healthy.
Do you feel the pressure and the demands of being number one, or do you feel that you handle it easily?
I think I've handled it pretty well. There's a lot of people asking for your time. You just have to do what you got to do, and be nice about it. And I don't want to be doing interviews all day. Obviously, I got to practice my 2-3 hours a day and then go from there.
Now, this is your first visit to Kooyong, and of course, never having been here before, we know that your idol was Rod Laver, who would have played here many times. Unfortunately for you, I guess, you're not playing on grass, but rebound ace at Kooyong. It must be a great feeling to be here, knowing the history of the place. Yeah, I've always looked up to the old Aussies, Laver, Rosewall, Lou Hode, and obviously this court. There are a lot of great matches played out here, and I feel like the old Aussies were the class of the game, and that's something I try to represent, is showing a bit of class like someone like Stefan does in the past 10 years, and so it's something that's important to me. Yes, indeed. Now, tomorrow in the final, you're up against Michael Chang. Of course, a big one leading up. You'd like to go into the Australian Open with a win under your belt. I think Michael Chang has a 6-4 win-loss record against you, even though you've defeated him the last 3 times. How do you feel about tomorrow's final? I feel pretty good. Whenever I play Michael, you really have to play well. He doesn't quit. Our games are so different, so I think it should be good tennis. So I'm looking forward to it. Michael and I have played each other since we were 7 years old, and it won't be any different. Tomorrow we're going to be, kind of each other's throats. All right, we look forward to the feast. Good. Thanks very much. Good luck tomorrow.
A 16-year rivalry, and tomorrow in the Colonial Classic, they will play off to see who is the 1995 champion. A class act, Pete Sampras, and someone who's been that for even longer is Stefan Edberg.
Stefan, you had to work very hard in that second set to get the break back, and then won the tiebreaker. Were you feeling that you would go on to win from that point?
Well, it's hard to beat Pete. Even if you win a set, you've got to win too, and I didn't. But, I didn't feel too great from the beginning, but I worked my way in, and, I started playing a lot better in the middle of the second set, and then played pretty well, apart from a few mistakes here in the third set, where he played a little bit too well, so I was quite happy.
You seem to be in sparkling form in the first day of this event. Still very happy with the way you're hitting the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I felt really good against Michael. Maybe Michael didn't have his best day, so he gave me a lot of free points, but, you're up against the best player in the world, and it wasn't too bad today. Obviously, you can always play better, but so can he.
The last serve of the match, to stay in the match, you had plenty on that serve.
Yeah, that's one of my specials. You don't see them very often. But I have done them before.
Now, current world ranking of number 7. You've been in the top 5 9 out of the last 10 years. I guess that's where you want to be again?
Yes, definitely. I want to work my way back up again, and I think I have a good chance this year. I'm feeling quite good here, and you know, a good start of the year, winning last week, and hopefully doing well next week too.
And a birthday coming up when you'll be 29. Unkindly, I believe you've been referred to as a veteran. You're starting to idolise the likes of Jimmy Connors, who's soldiered on well into their 30s.
I've got a long way to go to Jimmy Connors. It's just that everybody's calling me a veteran, but I don't really consider myself a veteran. Not quite yet. Once you get to 30, small veteran, I would say.
And as you say, you're really setting yourself for that top 5, maybe 1, 2, 3. You mentioned the other day that taking Sweden through to the Davis Cup final really gave you a burst of enthusiasm. Where did that enthusiasm come from?
No, it's always great when you have wins, and winning Davis Cup for Sweden means a lot to me. And you know, it's really a big thing in Sweden playing Davis Cup, and you know, it created a lot of interest back in Sweden. It makes you feel good to have a win by the end of the year, and then start off the new year fresh and hungry again.
And you've made many visits to Australia, always very welcome down here, but very successful in the Australian Open. This year would be nice to pick it up yet again.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of my favourite tournaments, and I always seem to play quite well here in Australia, so I'm going to try keep on playing well if I can.
All right, thanks very much. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Stefan Edberg, who says coming to Australia at the start of each year is like coming alive again out of the depths of the European winter to the heat of the summer. The heat too much today from the world #1.